Hey everybody, BX4 back in the building, back with another dose. Thank you for coming back to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Just to start off real quick, a note here. I am working on some backup equipment today. My computer is still down for the count. For those of you that watched my video a couple reports ago, my computer was compromised somehow. It happened during an update. So the update that's supposed to make things run fast and better, I guess, right? Get all the latest technology installed in your computer, whatever all these updates entail. I don't know. But my computer didn't crash, but couldn't really do anything. Every time you click something, it takes like 30 seconds for anything to happen on the screen. It's like very, very big delays. But anyways, hope you guys can hear me and see me well here. It's all about the news, right? So I think most of you can agree that it's not the visual quality. I think the quality looks pretty good. Please let me know down in the comments. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started here. We got a lot to get caught up on here. Black swans flying all around that can bring this financial system to a halt. Now, I want to note here, it's not just the financial system, it's everything, right? Because if the financial system freezes or pauses, or they can no longer just go into I should say endless debt, if they can no longer go into further into debt, and I'm talking about the money creators here, in order for this entire everything for society to function, continual amounts of debt, increasing amounts of debt, more borrowing, more spending, money that's actually not there, it's just created. But once that stops, the supply chains shut down. When credit shuts down, the supply chains shut down. So it's only a matter of days once the supply chains shut down. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you look at all the risks, now is the time to be very, very cautious right now. We've got so much happening on the front here of military and war, geopolitically. Here's just some of the headlines. I won't dive too much into these because I've got a lot of economic news to get caught up on. Israel on the brink of full-scale invasion of Lebanon. Warns back down or else. We've got U.S. weapons now that are authorized to be fired deep into Russia, and that's not going to be good. That's going to have some severe blowback. We already are seeing blowback with the de-dollarization and all these countries going against the U.S. dollar because they know that the U.S., we're the country that has the biggest military budget, the biggest quote-unquote defense budget. We have more bases across the world than any other country. We are the military might of the world, and a lot of times it's not welcome from the countries that we're in. Let's see what else here. Hezbollah's deepest attack yet, over 150 rockets, cruise missiles, drones fired from Iraq. Iran unveils new long-range drone in Tehran military parade. Of course, we still have everything that's happening over on the outskirts of Russia. So a lot to really talk about on that front. But let's talk about financially what's happened here. And why do I even mention those things? Because, folks, this could bring the financial system down. When all else fails, they take you to war. They were talking about the bankers, the ones that run the economy, the one that control the money, right? Most of you know this. Well, let's go ahead and get right into it. We've got a couple things here to start with. Got big layoff announcements out of Cisco. Bay Area offices, more than 800 workers cut. So the layoffs are increasing. They're on pace to break at least a 10-year record. I had to look at the financial crisis numbers, but it's either at or on pace to be worse than the financial crisis, or pretty close anyway. Let's talk about this here. Study shows, and this is here in San Diego where I'm from, nearly a quarter of single-family homes in San Diego County were purchased by investors. You would think with home prices at an all-time high, with consumers loaded up on debt, all-time high debt levels, that landlords would be a little bit concerned about their tenants' ability to pay the high rents that would justify what they're paying for these homes. But when you have big money buying up the homes that don't have to worry about making the monthly mortgage payment because they're buying homes in cash, then they're not really worried about the renter's ability to pay. Even if the home's vacant, they're not going to be that desperate to drop the prices that much on the rent. That's the problem when you have the billionaire class as the main homeowner. I should say main homeowner, but as a large homeowner, a large percentage. And if you look at California, it's about 50% of the homes are owned by investors, meaning it's only a 50% home ownership rate. If you look at nationwide, it's closer to, I believe, 63%. The last time I checked the numbers are actually owner occupied homes, right? So that's part of the problem. The housing bubble, home prices, cost of living. There's so many components to it. We know that easy money lending, the government buying all the mortgages right now, or most of the mortgages. Last time I checked, it was about 80%. And with the government's ability to spend to infinity with endless borrowing capabilities, we have to wonder pretty soon will they be buying all the mortgages, and they'll never let the housing bubble go bust, right? It's very interesting to keep an eye on the kind of the big picture aspect of housing. It's more than just mortgage rates. It's more than just supply. Whole slew of things in the background to really pay attention to and to think about. And that's what I want you all to think about: the monetary system as a whole, not just inventory, mortgage rates, um, down payment assistance programs. That's part of it, but there's a whole big picture here. Dow Jones breaking records. Of course, I'm recording this on Sunday. Monday could be a whole new ball game, but I anticipate more up days than down going into the beginning of November, unless we have a black swan that brings this down. Remember, we have war, we have shutdowns with the government spending bill still up in the air. Spending bill is something that's kind of a big thing I'm keeping my eye on. And some people say, well, the government shutdown will never happen. If it does, they'll just restart the government in a few weeks. No big deal, nothing burger. Well, ask yourself, is this time different? Look into the funding bill. Look into the disagreements that are in there on both sides, and ask yourself if this time may be different, right? I don't want to say it's different this time, but it is. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be a catastrophe, but it's something else to brace for. Here's something else to break for, too: strikes. And we've seen a lot of strikes all over the country, record amounts of strikes from people demanding more money because the cost of living is, as you know, beating most people into oblivion. The biggest wild card, and this is a headline here: just days until a crippling port strike paralyzes the East Coast. Folks, if the ports stop moving goods into the country, like I said a few minutes ago, the shelves will be cleaned out in a matter of days. The estimates are around 72 hours before the shelves are cleaned out. So something else to keep an eye on. All I'm saying is brace, be ready for things to pop off at any moment. Rate cuts. Rate cuts should wake a lot of people up because we were told that everything is fine. The economy's strong. The consumer's resilient, right? The economy is surprising even skeptics because it's so strong. Well, what's the definition of a strong economy? It's the ability for people to borrow money and therefore to continue to spend money. And when we talk about spending, they say, oh, look at the spending. It was more than we expected. That means the consumer's strong. Or does it mean that things are so expensive that even buying the same things are now more expensive than they were last year? So, of course, spending increased, right? You see the game that's being played here, folks. It's too crazy. But let's go ahead and get some other numbers, some data here. We got to get into. Here's more risks out there, and this is not just this country I'm going to mention, but it's all over the place. Chinese hacking typhoons threaten U.S. infrastructure. That's a headline out of Axios. So something else to think about there. And look at this. Look at how people are spending their money. I was going to save this for my other report because I'll have the screen share working again here, hopefully in a few days. Florida company's space balloon takes a big step towards human flight. This is the type of thing that people are going to spend their money on, and probably just the top 10%. So this balloon that was developed in Florida basically looks like a balloon, but it's got an inside like a little restaurant and stuff like that. But it's going to go to the edge of space, and it's got more than 1,800 people on the waiting list to take this balloon ride, not into space, but up very high. The spaceship Neptune Exclusor performed its uncrewed test flight, soaring to an altitude of 100,000 feet. Wow. So if there's 3,000 feet in a mile, it's at about 30 miles into the sky, marking a big step toward the Brevard County Space Tourism Company's march towards its first trip with humans on board next year. That kind of reminded me of that submarine that imploded underwater. It had some, I think, tourists on there and some other people. 1,800 people, folks, on the waiting list. So this is the type of thing that people are still spending their money on. While half the population is barely scraping by, paycheck to paycheck. It's insane, folks. So it looks like things are going to get worse. We've got Miss Harris now. The polls say that she is winning, and she's going to throw more money at the housing market. We've talked here many times about the down payment assistance program nationwide that'll likely be implemented under her watch. More programs to keep the bubbles inflated. Not that the other side, the right wings or the right wingers, don't have many other good ideas. They're talking about cutting taxes for or eliminating taxes for tips for people that make tips, eliminating taxes on overtime, and also I believe Social Security. So they're playing the money handout game, just like on the left side they're talking about student loan forgiveness and other things, right? So it's the same thing. It's just different areas of help that's being promised to the people, financial help, right? To me, both sides are very, very bad. So I'm not expecting anything to dramatically change, except for things are going to continue to get worse. The cost of living. We even got the right wingers out there calling for lower interest rates at one of those rallies. One of those big rallies, they said lower interest rates, and there was even some boos from the crowd because a few people, anyways, are awake and understanding that lower interest rates is what got us into the problem that we're at today. Easy money, low interest rate, easy borrowing, low hurdles to borrow money, right? All those things, endless money created out of thin air, no backing of the currency, right? All these things combined, folks, are leading in this. What do you want to call it? It's not hyperinflation, but it's definitely inflation that's painful and hurtful to a lot of people. But some other people are making money off of it. We try to make some money here. Follow this channel for when I invest. I'll let you know. I'm an open book. I'll let you know. Yeah, my trades for the last 2 years, I've let you know what I've traded in. I shorted Nvidia close to the top, made some money on that. Some of my followers also made money. The other one was a Rivian electric car company that had a big run up, and we saw it stop and had a couple even days and red days. We invested in that. We made money on the downside. So knowing the markets, knowing how these things work, it all helps, and hope it's helping you. Even if you're not investing, it's good to know what's going on, be on top of the news, be ready for something massive to take this whole system down. If not, it's going to be even worse. The black swan taking the system down, that would actually be a welcomed event. I think I would agree, you would agree. I think a lot of you would agree with me. Because the opposite of that, or if it doesn't happen, if we don't see the black swan bring this thing to a grinding halt, it's going to be more inflation, and that's even worse because it's a slow grind to nowhere land, right? People can't go into infinite debt like the people that can borrow the money, right? Like our quote unquote leaders. People don't have that capability. All right. So we're going to stop it right here, folks, because I want to get to work on my PC again so I can bring you the screen share and the green screen. I had all these cool things that are would have been added to the channel, but then my computer got quote unquote compromised with an update. So I'm going to work on that more. Hope you guys like this report. Keep stacking. Talk to you very soon. Bye for now. Peace.